Today, we're going to be ranking all of the Ultra Beasts from the newest set, Extra Dimensional Crisis, go over their pros and cons and where I feel like they fit into the meta, and which ones you should actually consider using in some of your decks. So there are currently 13 unique Ultra Beast cards in Extra Dimensional Crisis. Some of them are absolutely amazing, and a good handful of them are garbage. Like if I see you running these, like, oh god. Let's go ahead and get started with the first one, which is Pheramosa. And realistically, I'm gonna put Pheramosa probably in A tier. So Jump Blues does 20 damage to the active Pokemon, and you can pick a benched Pokemon that you can attack. Also for another 20. Obviously, I feel like by now everyone's familiar with the buzzwole deck that's running around with Pheramosa and Kartana. But something really cool about Pheramosa is like that utility in her move. So especially in early game, you're constantly able to put pressure on your opponent's bench, especially if they're like dropping multiple Pokemon down at the same time, especially if they're running basic Pokemon that like need time to evolve and they're not pulling any cards. And a really fun deck that I've been seeing Pheramosa pair up with a lot too is Decidueye, because Decidueye can hit the bench for 100 as long as the Pokemon is damaged. So having Pheramosa in early game, being able to poke at the bench and then having Decidueye come in and then like finish off, you know, free points off the bench. I'm honestly super interested how she'll play out with future decks to come, because I think that she's honestly like a solid grass card. And again, people who are running Pokemon that like need to evolve, like being able to put pressure on that bench so that when you have your win condition come out, that it's a little easier to handle. In the realm of like basic starting Pokemon, I would definitely put her at A. Next up is Kartana. Again, automatically being a grass type Mon, I think just like gives you like plus 10 points to whatever you're talking about. I think having access to Erica's is just super strong, right? You're able to play Pheramosa and Kartana as your starting basic Mon, and then you're able to stall out a lot because you can like, you know, burn in Erica's. And looking at Kartana, 60 health, 40 damage, he's pretty much just a grass Farfetch'd who's also an Ultra Beast. So his comparison would essentially be Farfetch'd if he had access to Erica's and Leaf Cape and Celesteela's free retreat. So like, I know a lot of people like running 2 Kartana, 1 Pheramosa in a buzzwole deck. I personally like Pheramosa more. I would probably put Kartana in B, maybe A, but it has to be behind Pheramosa. I mean, he also deals with Oricorio relatively well. I'm gonna leave him in B for now. We might move him, I don't know, but we'll leave him. I'm gonna leave him in B for now. Buzzwole EX, the big boy, the cover art for Extra Dimensional Crisis. Okay, again, being a grass type Mon, having access to Erica, having access to Leaf Cape already makes some, you know, a fairly strong card to begin with. And then 3 energies hitting for 120, and then 3 energies hitting for 120 is just naturally strong. And I know I'm trying to rank every individual card, but I'm also trying to think about like how you would play each card, right? So even though you can't use Big Beat on your next turn, I'm thinking about, you know, playing Celesteela. I'm thinking about being able to retreat, put him back in, and then playing a Lusamine on top of him, right? Because he's an Ultra Beast. So like, it's the access to utility that Buzzwole can have and how you're able to like capitalize off that, you know, in an actual Pokemon game. I feel like very rarely you're actually just not attacking again after, you know, with Buzzwole. If you haven't found a Celesteela, or you don't have like a Lusamine in your hand for you to double attack with Big Beat twice in a row, that's just a skill issue, you know, like. So I think I'm gonna put Buzzwole in S tier. I think he's such a strong Mon. He one-shots Darkrai for a thing, right? Because Darkrai is weak to grass. So he hits for 140 on Darkrai. I think you'd be crazy not to put Buzzwole in S tier. I think he's probably one of the best decks right now to run in Master Ball. Like, as long as you pull a Lusamine in your hand, you're attacking by round 3. So, or round 6, whatever you want to call it. Now, looking at Celesteela, I think I have to put Celesteela in A tier, right? I think I have to, because Celesteela, she's like the supporting Ultra Beast for everyone. Celesteela being a colorless Pokemon means that you can run Celesteela in any deck, and being able to retreat your active Ultra Beast for free is nuts, right? Because let's look at it like this, okay? Buzzwole has 2 retreat cost. Blacephalon, Zirketry, Guzlord has 4 retreat costs. Naganadel, Stakataka has 3. All 3 necrozmas are 2 retreat costs. So having Celesteela on your bench just allows you to free pivot any Pokemon that you need. Like, the only reason I wouldn't put Celesteela in S tier is I think it's just literally just because like they're supporting Mon. Also the 50-50 chance to actually hit for 100, you know, coin flipping every time. I think A is a healthy spot for her. I mean, if you're running like a full Ultra Beast deck, 9 times out of 10 you will have Celesteela in that deck. I'm gonna put Celesteela in the top of A tier. because I would love to give Celesteela S tier, but nah, I don't. Yeah. Okay, next, looking at blacephalon, hitting for 130 damage, but takes 70 damage to himself. Okay, so it's clear that Pokemon made him like a sacrificial card. Like he's meant to be knocked out, obviously. And again, at first when I saw this card, I would have 100% put him in D tier, but just the simple fact that he's found his place next to Silvally, like in that funky Silvally Blacephalon deck that runs Rocky Helmet and you know, Leaf and stuff like that, I'm going to put him in B tier, right? And the reason being is I'm pretty sure we only like really see him in like one deck, which is that like Silvally Blacephalon deck. But as future sets release, I'm sure someone is gonna come up with a way to like utilize like this idea a lot more. Like 130 damage with the potential to hit for 150 against grass type mons, and maybe if you play a red against an EX Pokemon. And again, the idea of like using Blacephalon as a finishing card, you're never starting any fight with Blacephalon. Like you're never your first mon to attack in a battle is never going to be Blacephalon. You would have had a Pokemon or two get knocked out so that you can Lusamine the energy back onto Blacephalon so that you can like finish out a battle. I would leave him somewhere in like mid B tier for sure. It's like playable, but like not insanely crazy. Okay, moving on to my favorite card in this entire set, Zirketry. That takes 3 energy to hit for 60 damage and confuses your opponent. Are we for real right now? I wonder who sat down at the table when they were creating this card pack. I was like, yes, he's gonna get a lot of playtime. I cannot find a scenario where you would unironically want to run Zirketry. I think there are so many other different and better cards that can like inflict confuse, and I don't even think confuse is like the best status effect to even like throw on to your opponent. Plus like it costing 3 energy. Remember, the best way to get energy onto your Ultra Beast is by playing a Lusamine, right? So that means a mon has to get knocked out. The only engines for electric energy that I can really think of is Magneton. So you would be needing to play like, again, I talked about this in the previous video, but you could theoretically play like Magnezone as your starting mon, let that get knocked out, and then energize Zirketry. But at that point, Magnezone hits for 110, so why are you even trying to use Zirketry to finish off? And if you're trying to start with Zirketry, you need 3 rounds of energy for him to actually be useful. Same thing with Electrical Cord, right? Like you need your active Pokemon to get knocked out to throw an energy on Zirketry with Electrical Cord, meaning that Zirketry is going to be sitting in the back like as a win condition, which does not make sense whatsoever. And 3 energy hitting for 60. With the exception of Ultra Necrozma, every mon with a 3 energy cost for an attack hits for at least 100 damage. The Dawn Wings and the Duskmane Necrozma both hit for 100. Blacephalon hits for 130. Celesteela hits for 100. Buzzwole hits for 120. Like 60 damage and confuse? Really? Like, I feel like that's just nuts, no? He has to sit here. Like, it's baffling that this is a card, honestly. Now, Nihilego is another, what I would call primary, like, supporting Ultra Beast. You know, you wouldn't see yourself aggressively attacking with Nihilego, doing 30 damage and just inflicting poison. But the ability to have poison hit for more than just 10 damage, having 1 Nihilego on your bench is essentially putting burn on your opponent every round without allowing them to flip a coin, right? Because burn does 20 damage, but every round they can flip a coin. If they land heads, then burn goes away, but there's no coin flip for poison. You have to swap out or use like a Pokemon Center. Nihilego is definitely going in A tier for sure. And then having 2 Nihilegos on your bench means that your poison is hitting for 30. Hello? And then of course you run Nihilego with Poison Barb, or you run Nihilego with any mon that can like obviously inflict poison. I actually want to try making a deck with the Salazzle card that inflicts burn and poison on the enemy's active, and have Nihilego sit on the bench and literally just like burn through them. Like I think that'd be so funny. But yeah, this ability is like first of its kind that we've seen from a Pokemon in TCG Pocket. So I think Nihilego deserves the A tier spot for sure. I think that poison is so strong and so annoying, and if you don't deal with it within the first couple turns, it's devastating, honestly. Now Guzlord, I'm gonna put Guzlord also in A tier. I feel like I don't even have to explain why Guzlord is definitely an A tier card. Again, access to Lucamine. So even though you need 4 energy to hit for 120 with Tyrannical Hole, you just pop a Lucamine on Guzlord and you're pretty much okay. You're pretty much fine. Celesteela can swap him in and out like as you need, right? So the 4 retreat cost practically doesn't mean anything. 170 HP, so he's tanky as hell. And then his 2 energy basic attack that hits for 30 damage is essentially a pocket. It's a mini Team Rocket, not even mini. It's a Team Rocket card. It's a Team Rocket card on a Pokemon that you can use every turn. Well, that you can use every turn that you attack with that move, right? And like the reason I'm putting him in A and like not in S is because yeah, like Grindcore is sick that you have a Team Rocket in your pocket. Again, only hits for 30 damage and you'd be using your move for that run, right? So 9 times out of 10 when you have the energy on Guzlord, you're going to be hitting for 120 and like you don't really care about like discarding your opponent's energy if you're slapping him for 120. There are a lot more use cases where you would have a Team Rocket card like in your deck and then play the Team Rocket card, right? And then use Tyrannical Hole for 120. You're sacrificing the damage to be able to discard energy from your opponent's active, possibly. And I don't think taking that chance is worth sacrificing you just slapping them for 200 or for 120, right? I think he's solid. I think he's great actually, especially if you run him with Nihilego and put a poison barb on. Like throwing a poison barb on Guzlord and having a Nihilego on your bench just deters them completely from attacking you until they have built up like a heavy hitting attack so they don't get poisoned. So I think A tier is is a good healthy spot for Guzlord. Now Naganadel and Poipole technically, right? Because Poipole evolves into Naganadel. It's clear what they were trying to do, right? Nihilego has that poison ability and Naganadel can inflict poison with 1 energy and hits for 40 as well. And again, in my last video, I made a deck with Naganadel, Nihilego, and Guzlord all in one deck, and I ran it without a Celesteela, and it did pretty well. It was a decent deck that was getting me some wins. But Naganadel, in my opinion, is a pretty mid card if you don't have Nihilego on your bench. Like the poison effect from Naganadel relies so heavily on Nihilego being on your bench. And I know I'm talking about how like some Ultra Beasts like obviously like require, you know, other Ultra Beasts to like be in your deck, such as, you know, you're gonna run Kartana pheramosa with buzzwole, or you're gonna run Celesteela in most of your Ultra Beast decks, which is, you know, given that like you're gonna put them at a higher tier because of how well they like work with each other. I'm bouncing back between B and C tier for Naganadel because I personally really like him. But I know a lot of other people don't. I know a lot of other people think he's like a mid guard. And I know this is a big like if factor, right? But he could potentially be hitting for 60 or 70 around, right? If you have 1 or 2 Nihilegos sitting on your bench. I think I'm gonna leave him in C tier. I don't, is that the wrong move? I don't know. Because, okay, so I'm thinking in the realm of like the Guzlord, Nihilego, Naganadel deck. You could run Guzlord, Nihilego and it'd be a really comfortable deck and just not have Naganadel, and you can run like Celesteela and Darkrai or something like that in that deck, right? And I think you would have better utility than just having Naganadel hitting for 40 sitting on your active bench. Sorry, sitting on your active spot. I mean, like every time that I've used them, I've got him online so early, right? But there are gonna be times where you pull Guzlord first and then you're not going to see Naganadel till like mid-game, which at that point you really don't need him because you'll have Guzlord in the front with a poison barb on, your Nihilego's probably already sitting on the bench, and then boom, you pull Naganadel. Like you're not going to swap your, I mean you could, right? You could swap your Guzlord out into Naganadel with a Celesteela or just retreat it, and then I guess sack or, you know, just aggressively slap poison. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave him in C tier, honestly. He's obviously playable. It's like not the craziest card in my opinion. Stakataka is such a interesting card. You need 2 energy to hit for 40, but you take minus 20 damage from the next turn. We played Stakataka in a deck with the dusk necrozma, a shaman, and Celesteela, where like in certain scenarios, Stakataka can just live an extra round, like allowing you to energize like something else or even just like get an extra hit off, I'm putting Stakataka in B tier. And then I feel like everyone forgets about this card, but the adamant card that allows for your metal type mons to take another -20 from attacks. There are literally times where like you can make Stakataka just unkillable in a round, which could be the difference between you winning and losing a game by just like getting an extra hit off, or like even just stalling out another round so that you can like top deck a card potentially. But again, super niche use cases for Stakataka, but in those niche use cases, he's really good in my opinion. So I will be leaving Stakataka in B tier for sure. And now we're on to the drop event necrozmas. Honestly, I'm gonna put both of these necrozmas in B tier. I think 3 energy for 100 damage is just really solid. It's really good, honestly. Also being a basic non-EX. Like the 30 damage to yourself with the Dawn Wings is it's obviously detrimental, but I think it's okay. Like I think there are more cases than not that you're gonna be able to get that damage off and live. Or there's gonna be those cases where you're using Dawn Wings Necrozma for like a finisher. Whereas on the flip side, I could see you getting 2 attacks out of a Dusk main Necrozma. I also feel like he's a better, I feel like Dusk main Necrozma as a metal type card is a solid metal type, like not supporting card, but like you should be able to run Dusk main Necrozma paired alongside like certain metal type EX Pokemon, in my opinion. I think he'll be like really strong. And again, when more cards like continue to come out, I think these two needing 3 energy to hit for 100, especially when 2 of those energies are colorless, it just allows them to be ran in like multi-energy decks, if that's something that's like, you know, you're looking into. Yeah, there's honestly not much to say about these 2 cards. That I think they're pretty solid. I'm gonna leave them at B tier. And of course, Ultra Necrozma. Ultra Necrozma needing psychic and metal energy to hit for 120 and discarding the top 5 cards from both decks is such a silly gimmick, but it's a fun gimmick. It's something fresh. It's fun to play with when you're able to get it to work. He's obviously not entirely a throw pick, but I'm going to leave him in C tier because he's just not a good card. He realistically is not a good card, especially in such a quick meta where you have Rare Candy running rampant. You have Shiinotic Solgaleo running around right now. You have so many cards and moves that allow you to draw more cards that by the time that you're able to get an Ultra Necrozma online, 9 times out of 10, your opponent has probably pulled all the cards that they need. Now, there will be those cases where like, you know, you have Giratina in the starting position and Ultra Necrozma on your bench, and you're powering metal energy, and then Giratina dies, and you send in Ultra Necrozma, and then you lose him in the energy back on, and then, you know, your opponent still has like 10 cards in the deck, and then you're thinning that out like crazy, and maybe like one of his evolution mons is in there that he just wasn't able to get to, or XYZ, like a healing card or something that he could have used. But again, just centering a deck around Ultra Necrozma is already so crippling because you're forced to hunt for those energies. And there are games where I'm running double energy and then I never pull like one of the energies, right? Like you'll pull 5 psychic energies in a row before you pull your first metal. But he is a fun card. He is a very fun card when you're able to make him work. So he's not an entire throw pick. Ultra Necrozma probably has a better win rate than Zirketry. So therefore he's not a throw pick. But yeah, if you guys found this tier list helpful, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And if you want to see how I personally used each and every one of these cards, I made another video where I took every Ultra Beast and made them into their own deck. So make sure you check out that video if you want to see how to best utilize some of these Ultra Beasts. And thank you guys so much for watching. Take care.